Do not harass the user in question. These videos are just for critique and entertainment. If I find that you are involved in any harassment towards them because of this video, you are disowned. Okay, before we begin, I would like to give you some context on who the subject of the video is, why I'm covering them, and how I came across them. The video in question is Top 5 Scariest Fictional Alien Races or Entities, hosted by Jack Finch on the channel Top 5 Scary Videos. I know, a lot of redundancies there. Top 5 Scary Videos is a spin-off of Most Amazing Top 10. They hold a lot of the same errors, minus one. At least with Top 5 Scary, they give you at least 2 minutes per entry. That's probably only for the ad revenue and anything. But I actually used to watch their content quite a lot. I consider them well versed because they did know a lot about the history. It's just this video started to erode my perception for me. And a later video actually just fundamentally shattered it. I say this not to attack them or anything like that, but to get whatever biases I may hold regarding them acknowledged and out of the way as soon as possible. I'm covering them now because one of the biggest issues that they have hasn't been fixed. It's still going on. Anyway, onto the video.
There are many philosophical and psychological themes that permeate themselves across science fiction.
Yeah, sorry if I doubt you on that, but you actually have a perfect example at number 5, with significantly less cognitively based horrors higher on the list.
I'm going to try and do this list without any mention of the alien that tops everyone else's list, the Xenomorph, of course. And on that note, we may as well throw in the Yautja from Predator, John Carpenter's The Thing, plus Cthulhu and all his buddies, because you all know that I love a challenge.
And yet all but one of the races on the list are genuine list toppers in their own rights. Actually, an entire list composed of list topper horrors would be an incredibly interesting insight into what scares you though. I do suggest that you follow down that path of reasoning, as it will actually allow you to get something, albeit, yes, it will be somewhat cliche, but there will be a uniqueness in that it will be based on your perceptions of these entities.
Kicking off at number 5, the Goa'uld, Stargate.
As somebody who watched a lot of SG-1 and Atlantis, that pronunciation and pluralization actually really hurt me. See, it's actually pronounced Goa'uld, or Gould, not Ga'uld. And the plural form has no S. It's pluralized much the same way that the word sheep is.
Although they may look like a bunch of mildly eccentric ancient Egyptian offshoots, the fact of the matter is the Goa'uld are absolutely terrifying because they're actually a bunch of parasitic snake-like worms that burrow into the neck or throat of their host.
That actually really depends on their faction. See, the Goa'uld tend to enter via the neck to avoid seeing the host's last 3 facial expressions. So that's from their perception. There actually have been instances of hosts being free from the Goa'uld control. It leaves them with some PTSD from the control because they still have the memories. But, back to the main point, the Tok'ra, however, enter via the mouth as it symbolizes the host's willingness to hold them, as well as their rejection of the common Goa'uld views. In fact, the Tok'ra could actually be viewed as a whole separate subspecies, based on just how heavily and violently they reject the main Goa'uld ideals.
Piloting their parasitic hosts into their conveniently placed Stargate to...
Actually, the Stargates are placed wherever life is sustainable, meaning that the odds of a gate being on the planet where the Goa'uld and Urus grew is 1-to-1. It's actually more of a miracle that the Goa'uld were able to adapt to hosting humans upon immediate first contact. That is odd, and leaves some questions in the air. But we don't actually follow them because it's just a show, don't think too much about it. Even though the horrors are very psychologically based.
populate themselves across the universe as ancient Egyptian gods.
And actually, they were attempting to dominate the galaxy as opposed to just settling it. If they were just settling it, they wouldn't have been as aggressive. They would have just gone to empty planet and just settled. And after finding out how well humans work as a host, seriously don't know how that works, they opted for them instead and took advantage of the birth rate to ensure that they had foot soldiers in the form of Jafar. No, neither of the types that you are probably thinking of right now. Also, wow, you did not mention the idea of being a prisoner in your own body. Beyond the puppeteer remark. With the Goa'uld, the number of traumatized is the planet's remaining population, plus the host. Yet, their mind is still alive. I'm honestly disappointed that I had to do your job for you on this one. So guess what? I won't be doing it again. It was quite dry after all.
Seizing other life forms, their technology, vessels, planets, and even entire star systems by force, enslaving them and assimilating their collective strengths into their shared consciousness.
Oh wow, they keep you prisoner before converting you. It's not like most other fictional races that convert or possess victims do the same thing. Nitpick, I know, but I needed something to chat about. Otherwise you'd forget I was here.
Personally speaking, the Borg collective strike fear in me because they are both a metaphorical and literal obliteration of the individual.
So your greatest fear is basically just death. I know, it doesn't sound like that, but it is your greatest fear. Especially if you don't believe in the concept of a soul. If you do believe in the concept of a soul, this is still just death, as when it kills your identity, your soul, if you have a soul, it will likely go on beyond that. It is just a form of death, even if the body remains. And because I have nothing left on the video to talk about, on to my final thoughts. From the entries that I did know about, you actually got the history correct. You used it for padding though, and that's the problem. You padded your runtime using it, instead of actually using it to expand on what the species is fully capable and the mindset they tend to hold. Look at what I did when I expanded on your history of the Goa'uld. I expanded on their mindset and their activities. Might I suggest that you actually focus less on that history so that you can spend more time focusing on what actually makes them terrifying. You also put the Borg at number 1 despite the fact that they had a more simple and straightforward take on the hive mind than the Flood, which is a torture to death thing. Or the fact that the Goa'uld control you, leaving your mind intact to observe what they did. You didn't think about any of the other things that may make something terrifying. Well, yes, the Borg are a quintessential example of identity. They're not the best at it. There are probably hundreds of other examples built on what the Borg have created and come out much more horrifying than the Borg ever did. Please, consider that next time. And the big criticism that actually applies to you the most, and this applies to your parent group, stop uploading twice a day. No, I'm serious. You uploading twice a day actually hurts the quality of your video. I came across this video in 2018, or 2019, but I watched this video. It suffered from a lack of research. It got buried really quickly because you upload so much. I suggest you slow down to just one video per host per week so that you can actually do more research. Every host will have done a week's worth of research into their topic, allowing them to come out with more. Don't be afraid of exceeding 10 minutes or even 12. No, some of the longer videos on these topics actually tend to be much better because they elaborate a lot more on these topics. They elaborate more on what makes something scary. They elaborate more on their perspective of it. And they also use their history more effectively. Frankly, that's all the advice I can give you.